Hello everyone, welcome back to my GH Spoiler channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. General Hospital, Thursday, March 12th, 2026. Sidwell seized in court. Shocking moment that changed everything. You thought you'd seen it all in Port Charles. You thought after years of mob wars, surprise resurrections, paternity bombshells, and operating room catastrophes, nothing could make your jaw drop to the floor. And then Thursday happened. If you missed today's General Hospital, clear your schedule, cancel your dinner plans, and brace yourself, because what unfolded inside the Port Charles Municipal Courthouse was the single most electrifying hour this show has delivered in years. We are not exaggerating. We are barely breathing. The calm before the storm. The episode opened deceptively quietly. Sunlight filtered through the courthouse windows. District Attorney Marlene Cho shuffled papers at the prosecution table with the composed efficiency of a woman who had already won. Defense Attorney Harlan Voss, expensive suit, cheaper conscience, leaned toward his client and whispered something that made the man smile. That man was Graham Sidwell. For those who need the refresher, Graham Sidwell, property developer, alleged kingpin, and the smuggest face Port Charles has produced since Cesar Faison wore a mask, has been sitting at the center of a sprawling conspiracy trial for the past 3 weeks. The charges? Racketeering, extortion, and, most damning of all, his alleged role in the poisoning of beloved General Hospital nurse Petra Okafor, who has been fighting for her life in the ICU ever since a charity gala 2 months ago turned into something out of a nightmare. Sidwell has denied everything. His lawyers have filed motions, stalled proceedings, and generally treated the Port Charles justice system like a game board they were winning. Today, the board flipped. Alexis takes the stand and delivers. The morning session began with the testimony of Alexis Davis, who, fresh from her own complicated legal history, took the stand with the quiet authority of a woman who has survived enough courtrooms to know exactly how they work. Alexis described a conversation she witnessed at the Metro Court nearly 18 months ago, a conversation between Sidwell and a man she now identified as Dominic Rell, a name that sent murmurs cascading through the gallery. Rell, federal investigators have long suspected, is the supply chain architect behind a series of pharmaceutical thefts tied directly to the substance found in Petra's bloodstream. Voss objected 17 times. The judge sustained 4 of them. Alexis finished her testimony with characteristic precision, stepped down from the stand, and didn't look at Sidwell once. That restraint said everything. Sidwell, for his part, was still smiling. He wouldn't be long. The document nobody was supposed to see. Here is where Thursday's episode detonated. During the afternoon recess, depicted in a gorgeous, extended scene that GH writers clearly knew was going to land hard, a young paralegal named Becca Tran rushed into the courtroom clutching a manila envelope. She handed it to D.A. Cho. We watched Cho's face. We watched it shift from fatigue to disbelief to something close to ferocious joy. When proceedings resumed, Cho requested permission to submit a late-breaking piece of evidence. Voss erupted. He demanded to know how this material had been obtained, questioned chain of custody, invoked the specter of mistrial. The judge, the Honorable Sandra Price, a woman who has tolerated exactly 0 theatrics since this trial began, looked at Cho over her reading glasses and said calmly, "Counselor, proceed." What followed was the unraveling of Graham Sidwell's entire defense. The document, a series of encrypted financial transfers that had been cracked by a forensic accountant working in conjunction with the Port Charles Police Department, placed $2.3 million in payments from a shell company tied to Sidwell directly into an account controlled by a hospital administrator who had access to the Gallus catering inventory. The link between the money and the poisoning was no longer theoretical. It was a paper trail, a devastating, meticulous, irrefutable paper trail. The moment the courtroom stopped breathing, Cho stood before the jury and read the transfer dates aloud, one by one, slowly, deliberately. Each date corresponded to a milestone in Petra Okafor's care schedule, dates that only someone with inside access to the hospital could have known. And that's when it happened. Graham Sidwell stood up. Not because he was called, not because his attorney asked him to. He simply stood, and in a voice that had lost every trace of its earlier confidence, said, and these words will echo through Port Charles fan forums for months, "This is fabricated. This is a setup, and if you think I'm going down alone, you have no idea who you're dealing with." Chaos. Absolute chaos. The gallery erupted. Judge Price hammered her gavel. Voss grabbed Sidwell's arm. Two court officers moved toward the defense table with the calm urgency of people who have been trained for exactly this scenario. And Sidwell, still talking, voice rising, pointing now at figures in the gallery whose identities the camera deliberately obscured, was physically removed from his own trial. The bailiff placed him in handcuffs, in front of the jury, in front of the cameras, in front of Port Charles. Cho did not look triumphant. She looked tired and resolute and absolutely certain. What it means for Port Charles. Cut to General Hospital, where Dr. Finn Harrison was on a coffee break when the courthouse footage appeared on the break room television. His reaction, a long, still moment, eyes fixed on the screen, one hand pressed flat against the countertop, was this episode's quietest and most devastating beat. Petra Okafor is his colleague. She is also, it has been heavily implied, someone he has come to care for in ways that extend well past professional concern. He set down his coffee cup. He walked back to the ICU. He pulled a chair to Petra's bedside and sat. "They got him. They actually got him," he said quietly to a woman who could not yet respond. Meanwhile, back at the courthouse, the gallery was being cleared, and reporters were swarming the steps outside. Somewhere in that crowd, a figure in a dark coat turned away from the cameras. Someone who had been in the gallery all morning. Someone's face the episode had been carefully not showing us until this precise moment. The camera held on that retreating figure for exactly 4 seconds. 4 seconds is a very long time in a soap opera. The only question that matters now. Sidwell said he wouldn't go down alone. He pointed at someone. The show wants us to ask who, and it wants us absolutely desperate for the answer. Friday cannot come fast enough. General Hospital airs weekdays on ABC. Set your DVR, call your friends, and for the love of everything dramatic and soapy, do not miss tomorrow.